Rebel animals at risk. Stories of survival. Kimberlie Hamilton. Europe. In our ever more crowded world, humans are creating a lot of problems for wildlife. This can especially be seen in many densely populated places in Europe. The more people are there, the more towns and cities, roads and railways, houses and office buildings, all of which can harm wildlife and destroy their natural habitats. Wildlife in the countryside is in danger too. More and more land is being plowed up to grow crops for feed our increase in population, and those crops are often doused with chemicals and they are toxic to animals. It may feel as if we are losing touch with the natural world, but if you look and listen, it's possible to find wildlife in this sprawling, noisy metropolis. Peregrine falcons, for example, were considered extinct in southern Britain in the 1960s. Now, new protections and limits on the pesticides have allowed their numbers to bounce back, even in places you might not expect, like British capital, London. Today, there are 30 pairs of peregrine falcons soaring high over the London's concrete canyons and brick cliff faces. Two of the best-known falcons are Charlie and Augustus. They live at very prestigious address, the Houses of Parliament. They have a fancy nesting box, a nest cam, and their very own Facebook page. It just goes to show that it is indeed possible to peacefully coexist with the wild animals that share our planet. Silly hedgehog. Silly was found trapped in a cellar on a cold winter night in 2001. Then in a week, he was so hungry that he was trying to eat an old shoe. His rescuers rushed him to a woman, Joan, who ran a hedgehog hospital in England. Joan didn't think Silly would survive, but he defied all odds. He became her constant companion, scaring after her wherever she went. He became the star of Joan's public education program, happy to be stroked and cuddled on visits to school, libraries, and care homes, even a prison once. The friendly hog was a perky professional, featuring on TV and in newspapers as he helped raise awareness about the danger hedgehogs face and how people can help them. Silly might have been little, but he made a big impression on all who met him. Catherine, Scottish wildcat. Catherine was born at the Highland Wildlife Park in Scotland, and sanctuary where wildcats lived in large natural enclosures. After she paired with a male cat in 2019, conservationists used remote cameras to keep an eye on her. Catherine's belly appeared suspiciously large, but weeks went by with no sign of her giving birth. One camera finally captured footage of Catherine moving a kitten into her nest box. The park staff watched hours of film and noticed that Catherine seemed to be moving her kitten around a lot. It soon became clear that she was a second kitten and another. 4 kittens for the first time, Mom! The staff were amazed. Scottish wildcats usually only have 1 kitten per litter. There may be as few as 100 wildcats left, so Catherine's already making a big contribution to saving Britain's rarest mammal from extinction. Len, Przewalski's horse. Len is the grandson of the last Przewalski horse born in the wild. P-horses are the world's only surviving species of wild horse, and large herds of them once roamed the vast plains of Russia and Central Asia. Yet by the 1960s, there was no sign of even a single one living still there. Len was born in captivity in Ukraine in 2002 and relocated to Prague Zoo, a bashful station with notched ears. Len is pretty laid back, but is still wild and hard, refusing to let anyone touch him or shut him inside a pen. In 2011, he feathered a filly and went on to sire several other foals. One of his daughters, Clarida, was returned to the land of her ancestors, and now lives there wild and free amongst other of her own kind, such as Lang's grandmother once did. Linda, Eurasian lynx. A hungry cat crept inside Leningrad Zoo in 2008 and followed her nose to an enclosure. She found a yummy meal, but also put herself in danger as a Eurasian lynx called Linda slowly approached. Lynxes are big, solitary creatures and welcomed the tiny cat and didn't seem mind sharing their food. The kitty started visiting Linda every day, and the zoo eventually adopted her and named her Dusia. The feline friends spent days hanging out together and playing with their favorite toy, a cardboard box. They were also a big hit on Russian social media and have thousands of devoted followers. As this big cat little cat friendship shows, you never know why you might find a new bestie. Tintin, Red Squirrel. Tintin was only 5 weeks old when he fell from a rooftop in 2016 and was badly injured. A Danish man brought him inside and allowed his cat Coco to comfort the little squirrel and purr him to sleep. Tintin recovered with lots of TLC and soon was riding around his rescuer pocket. While it's usually illegal to keep squirrels as pets in Denmark, an exception was made for Tintin due to his obvious bond with his human. After Coco passed away, the man saw the cat tiger became the squirrel's protector, following by his little friend's side when Tintin was on his leash for walks. Tintin loves solving puzzles, has a knack for sensing when someone feels down, and brings smiles to the faces of 134,000 Instagram fans each day. How many squirrels can say that? Tutti, Puffin. The renowned Sehemar Aquarium in Iceland has cared for a number of injured puffins over the years, but Tutti was perhaps the most memorable. The day he was rescued, a local football player called Tutti scored a winning goal, and the puffin was named in his honor. People love to give Tutti puffin-sized football shirts and see him wearing them in photos posted on social media. With his cheerful striped beak and wooden walk, adorable Tutti would be counted on to charm all the aquarium's visitors. Many people wrote reviews saying this celebrity bird was the highlight of their trip. After Tutti passed away in 2018, the aquarium staff posted an official announcement that said, "Tutti was a small puffin with a large heart who brought joy to everyone who met him." Verity, European mink. Verity is described by his keepers as goofy, known for running about his enclosure like a mad fool and often talking a tumble because he's too busy to watch where he's going. He also has a reputation for starting onlookers by falling out of trees, sometimes back first, then springing to his feet and racing off again. Weety lives at the Rania Wildlife Park, the northernmost zoo in Finland, a country where European minks were once very common. Sadly, they are now extinct in the wild in Finland, are considered critically endangered elsewhere in Europe. Mischievous Weety plays an important role in the European Endangered Species Program, with aims to breed the water-loving animals and reintroduce them in protected areas throughout the Baltic Sea region. Whiskey, barn owl. Whiskey had been abused and was missing her beak when she arrived at the Blue Highlands Bird Sanctuary in northern Scotland. She had to be fed tiny bites of food until a prosthetic beak was created for her. Her beak grew back over time, and Whiskey became helping to teach people about her unique species, like the fact that a single barn owl can hail 1,000 miles a year. Thanks for the animal catching skills, barn owls had been helping keep humans safe for centuries by preventing the spread of a vitamin disease. Despite all the trauma in her early life, Whiskey prefers to stick close to her caregivers and enjoy interacting with visitors, even allowing them to stroke and fold her. If she's feeling especially joyful, she'll even do a little dance for them. European wildlife wins, such as Britain's urban peregrine falcons, have started a comeback, so too have many other species through Europe. The land of the Leopard Nation Park, a wildlife sanctuary in Russia, was helped endanger Amur leopards claw their way back from near extinction. Beavers became extinct in Britain over 400 years ago, but it is hoped that introducing them may prevent flooding. Their dam-building skills made them excellent eco-engineers. Hedgecock Rosenstein and Brennan alerted motorists to watch out for the prickly critters on roads. This is important because the number of hedgecogs had declined 95% since the 1950s. In Spain, a major conservation plan was put in place to help Iberian lynxes when their numbers fell below 100 in the wild. It worked. Iberian lynxes have moved from critically endangered to endangered on the IUCN Red List. The first Przewalski horse in modern times was born with the help of artificial insemination in 2013, an exciting breakthrough for the species. Red kites are a conservation success story in the UK. 30 years after 13 of these birds of prey were flown in from Spain, there are now 1,500 breeding pairs across the country. Prince Charles is such a fan of red squirrels that he gives them names and allows them inside his Scottish home. He hopes to establish a predator-free sanctuary for red squirrels someday. Scottish wildcats are now protected under British law, and plans are in the works to create a captive population that will eventually be released into the wild. More and more countries in Europe have banned wild animals in circuses, including Austria, England, the Netherlands, Scotland, and Slovakia. The world's first wildlife crossing was built in France in the 1950s. There are now thousands of green bridges and tunnels across the world, enabling animals to cross roads and railways safely. Wolves have been reintroduced to the European countries where they have died out, and sheepdogs are helping protect livestock from them. Protecting livestock protects the wolf from angry framers too. Other amazing European animals. Wolf parents Auguste and Noella produced 4 cubs in 2020. The youngsters were the first wild wolf cubs to be born in Belgium in more than 150 years. Feisty E.G. was a female osprey who returned each year to a reserve in the Scottish Highlands. She raised 23 chicks, but gained even greater fame for her dramatic squabbles with one bird. GB07 was a white stork mom who hatched 3 chicks on a coastal estate in West Sussex, England, in 2020. They were the first stork chicks born in the wild in the UK for over 600 years. Golden Eagle Goldie lived in a London zoo in the 1960s. He made headlines when he escaped and spent 2 weeks playing tag with his keepers. After Goldie was finally caught, zoo attendants nearly dubbed. When land is being developed, hedgehogs often find themselves in great danger. Welsh Springer Spaniel Henry helps sniff out the hedgehogs so they can be relocated to safe and snug new homes. Maka, a fox terrier from New Zealand, was hired in 2019 to be protected wildlife on Scotland's Orkney Islands. He's a conservation detention dog trained to find soats, an invasive species that pose a threat of Orkney's wildlife. 2 female Iberian lynxes, Oluwite and Ophelia, were released in Spain in 2019. Born in captivity in Portugal, they were relocated to Spain to help improve the species' genetic diversity. A brown bear nicknamed Papillon escaped from an enclosure in his northern Italy in 2020, scaling 3 electrified fences and 4-meter-high barrier. He's done it not once but twice. One conservationist urged authorities not to kill the fugitive, saying he's guilty only for love and freedom, like all of us. Sherbrand Knight is a European bison born in the Czech Republic and moved to the Netherlands in 2020. The animal was named by students in Austria. Valley, a grizzly bear at the Budapest Zoo, saved a crow from drowning when he rescued it from the enclosure's pool in 2014. The dramatic rescue was widely shared on social media. Wojtek was a brown bear adopted by Polish soldiers during the Second World War. He helped them win a key battle by lugging heavy boxes of ammunition to the front lines and went on to spend a peaceful retirement at Edinburgh Zoo in Scotland.